I mean, you have talked about this
Yeah.
woke mind virus.
Yes.
In really apocalyptic terms.
Yeah.
You should explain why you don't think it's hyperbole to say things like it's pushing civilization towards suicide. First of all, what is the woke mind virus? And if we don't deal with this, nothing else can get done. Tell me why you think that.
Yeah, so I think we need to be very cautious about anything that is anti-meritocratic and anything that is that results in the suppression of free speech. So, those are two of the aspects of the woke mind virus that I think are very dangerous. Is that it's often anti-meritocratic. You can't question things. Even the questioning is bad. So, another way to almost synonymous would be cancel culture. And obviously, people have tried to cancel you many times.
Many times.
Yeah, I mean,
every week.
Yeah.
From left and right. I've had it from both sides.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. People, you and I are both like in that little group of people, maybe it's a bigger group now,
Yeah.
who are called conservative, who haven't really changed. I
Right.
don't think of you as a conservative.
I'm definitely, yeah, like, I at least think of myself as a moderate, so, I mean, at least, I've spent a massive amount of my life energy building sustainable energy, electric
Yes.
vehicles and batteries and solar and stuff to help save the environment. That's not a,
No.
It's not exactly far right.
No, you drew that you drew that diagram once where you're
Yeah.
here. I related to that, and like the world has changed.
Right.
I feel the same way. I feel like very often wokeness is not building on liberalism. It's the opposite of liberalism. I can mention
Yes, exactly.
many
This is-
examples where it's including free speech.
Free speech is actually is extremely important, and it's bizarre that we've come to this point where, free speech used to be a left or liberal value, and yet we see from the in quotes left a desire to actually censor, and that seems crazy. I mean, I think we should be extremely concerned about anything that undermines the First Amendment. There's a reason for the First Amendment. The First Amendment is because people came from countries where they could not speak freely, and where saying certain things would get you thrown into prison. And they were like, well, we don't want that here. And by the way, in many parts of the world, including parts of the world that people might think are relatively similar to the United States, the speech laws are draconian.
England is quite different.
I won't name any countries, but
England, why we protected them? They have no First Amendment. It's very easy to prove libel in England, whereas here it's almost...
I love England, but...
Yeah, I do too, but I wouldn't want to say the wrong thing. Or
yes,
you could be sued easier. There are in France, I think if you deny the Holocaust, which I think is abhorrent, but I also think it should be part of free speech,
right.
You can be thrown into jail. Okay, so this...
I really can't emphasize this enough. We must protect free speech, and free speech only matters, it's only relevant when it's someone you don't like saying something you don't like, because obviously speech that you like is,
yes.
It's easy. So it's the thing about censorship is that, sure, for those who would advocate it, just remember, at some point, that will be turned on you.
So, this woke mind virus, how did it start? Was it bats? Was it
Yeah.
escape from a lab? I mean, what is your assessment of what? Because it's fairly recent. How did it start and why?
I was trying to figure out where it's coming from. I think it's actually been a long time brewing, in that I think it's been going on for a while. The amount of indoctrination that's happening in schools and universities is, I think, far beyond what parents realize. And I sort of came to realize this somewhat late. The experience that we had in high school and college is not the experience that kids today are having, and hasn't been for, I don't know, 10 years, maybe 20 years. So,
aren't parents themselves also a big part of the problem?
Well, I suppose in some cases that parents, but I think like the parents are just generally not aware of what their kids are being taught, or what they're not being taught.
But they're letting the kids think that they're equal.
I mean, yeah. Let me give you an example that a friend of mine told me, which his daughters go to college go to high school in the Bay Area, and he was asking them like, well, so who are the first few presidents of the United States? They could name Washington, and I said, well, what do you know about him? Well, he was a slave owner. What else?
Right. Exactly.
Nothing.
Right.
Like, okay, maybe you should know more than that. Yeah.
Yeah. That is the woke mind virus. Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like slavery is obviously a horrific institution, but we should still know more about George Washington than that.
And by the way, one that was practiced all over the world
Yes.
forever, since the beginning of time, by every race, including people of color. I'm sorry to tell you that. It's huge in the Bible.
Absolutely. So
Bible loves it.
Really? Yes, they're quite strict about don't take someone else's slave and that kind of thing.
Right, but no one ever says just don't do it.
They don't. At no point does it say slavery is bad in the Bible.
No.
They do not condemn it at all.